Those Were the Days is filmed before a live internet audience.
Hello, podcast fans, and welcome back to Those Were the Days. It's been 2 weeks. We have no idea how to do this show anymore, and I'm your host tonight, Amy. Today, we are broadcasting from the world below, and I have with me some of the denizens of that world. We have Father, Audie.
Tale as old as time, in a present-day city, they're more than friends, even when his mind bends unexpectedly. He's acting very strange. She wants to help him please, but trying to figure out so that neither one will doubt Beauty and the Beast.
Bravo.
Yes! Bravo.
We have the doctor with questionable morals. It's Steven.
Hey there. This is New York City Emergency Services. We picked up something in the park. Yeah, it was passed out in the middle of the field. What is it? It's like a lion, man. You heard me right. The thing is, given the Hippocratic Oath and all, we got to take him somewhere. We're just not sure whether we need to bring him to, a human doctor or maybe a vet. How much human is he? Geez, I don't know. Seems like 50-50, human to lion. No, we got no ID. Looks like he got lost on his way to the Renaissance Fair. Does he have a tail? Oh, no, not that we can see. But look, the last thing I want to do is go rooting around this thing's backside, We really can't make heads or tails of what we got here. What's that? Oh, there's an idea. Flip a coin. Heads the doc, tails the vet. Ha! Sounds good to me. Thanks.
And the lovable cook, Travis.
Okay, Quark. I'm sorry, Pascal. I get those confused all the time. There was a guy at the entrance to one of the tunnels. He was about 4.5 feet tall. Sounded like Vizzini from The Princess Bride, and he was looking for you. I'm not sure if that means anything to you or not, but.
Alrighty, so here we are. My pick for host choice week, and I picked a show that I had never seen. Isn't that a fun trick that I did?
Yeah.
And I picked 1987's Beauty and the Beast with Ron Perlman and Linda Hamilton. Now, a few things. First of all, I absolutely took zero notes while watching this show, so we will be talking about it purely based on vibes. And second of all, there's kind of a reason we haven't done a whole lot of soap opera-y type shows here, because it usually does require a several year commitment to get to the point where you're like, I know what's happening.
Mhm.
So that's fine though, because we have Wikipedia, which, we would not have in 1987, but we do have this. So the basic premise is Vincent, who is the Beast, played by Ron Perlman, had been found. He was a foundling, and he was brought to the world below because there are people who live in the tunnels under New York City, which I do actually like. If I'm gonna believe a conspiracy theory, I feel like that one is not that that's only a little detour off of like that could be pretty probable. I don't think that they're living that life, but I do think there are probably people down there.
And the tunnels definitely don't look like that.
No,
at
for
all.
sure they don't, and they
'Cause those
definitely
were
smell
real
real
nice.
bad.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So the Linda Hamilton is attacked one day in a case of mistaken identity. Vincent comes to her rescue, and now they're a whole thing. Great. Um By the time we get to this episode, however, Vincent is dealing with some stuff. The big bad guy of season 1 has been bested. This is the season 2 finale, which is a pretty intense thing for me to choose, but here we are.
Just diving
Oh,
right
the,
in.
the rest is silence. Yeah. Well, I wanted a beast heavy episode, right? So,
Mhm.
of the 2 top rated episodes, according to IMDb, one of them is very Catherine focused. And I was like, listen, Linda Hamilton is fantastic, but this is not what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, so this show, 1987, ran for 3 seasons. The 3rd season was cut short because Linda Hamilton was pregnant and had announced that she was leaving the show. And so they were just gonna tie that all up. Which is that's a good way to do it. Like, yeah. Because you can't recast it.
No.
It doesn't work if you like kill her off and then you're like, well, let's just give him someone new, I guess.
Here's
But
her
they
sister.
sort of
Yeah.
apparently they kind of did that, because I was reading about it, and she gets killed off early in the season 3, and then they bring in a new character that is like investigating her death.
Yeah.
And
There's
in
a
reading
lot
that, I
of
was like, that kind of, how is this Beauty and the Beast anymore? We've killed
well,
our
I
beauty.
think they were just tying up some ends from that point forward, is my understanding.
And writers like their
Okay.
job, and they'd like to keep that steady paycheck. And if
Yeah.
that would have worked, and they were gonna write anything they could that made it make sense, so they could maybe get a season 4. You know,
For sure.
I think, and Ron Perlman probably wouldn't have hated it either. You know,
Well,
No,
also,
not in
no
1987.
Not
No.
for nothing, one of the writers was George R.R. Martin, and he knows
Yeah.
he likes to kill somebody off. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, why don't we kill
Yeah.
He doesn't
more
have a problem.
characters? We should have killed several people in season 1.
Why
Mhm.
saw
don't we
that
just
credit
kill
and
off
I
the
was like,
beast while we're at
are
it?
you
Yeah, let's
kidding?
Yeah.
kill the beast and get a new one.
I'm
The
with you,
beast
Audie.
was
I
us
saw-
all along.
I saw that credit just like you, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
I had no idea.
It's like, I knew I was going to go to Wikipedia, but I immediately went to Wikipedia. I was like, what?
Yeah, wait, what?
Wait, like surely there's not 2 George R.R. Martins.
Right.
Surely that one. There's
Fair
not.
enough.
Like I know there's a Christopher Lloyd who's a producer on The Golden Girls,
Yeah.
but it's not that one. Like it's not that one. It's different.
You can have the same name as long as you're both not in the Screen Actors Guild. That's the
Yeah.
that's
Right.
the trick.
Yeah.
It's
Change
guild
letter.
membership.
Add your middle name
so-
as an initial.
I did not watch the show when it was on. I was young. I would have been 6 when it came out. But I have an older sister, and I do remember my older sister watching this show. And I feel like had it come along later, it would like in like middle school age, I would have watched the hell out of this show.
Mhm.
Because like middle school me was absolutely obsessed with Phantom of the Opera, which this is more that than Beauty and the Beast. It feels to me
Yeah.
like there's a
That
lot more
was-
threads that way. Not that
Yeah.
they're dissimilar in the first place, but they're all from the same folktale from Europe.
True.
Mhm.
So I never watched it until we watched this, and I watched a few snippets of some other episodes when trying to decide. But I don't know. Did anybody else have any connection to this show? We'll start with you, Steven.
Well, I'm glad you asked because I have an encyclopedic knowledge of this show. Season after season, I was glued to the screen at 3 years old.
Yeah.
That's false. I didn't. I've never. I do really have Ron Perlman's face just seared into my brain from various
Sure.
places. I knew of this show because I knew that makeup, and I knew that
Yeah.
very 1980s heavy metal hair that he had. Like a very that's the most I have out of it, but I do recall it being a thing, just not in any context. I didn't know what it was. I was just like, that's a weird looking dude on a poster. What's that all
Uh-huh.
about? And then I'd move on to my life. That's the closest I got.
I think the thing about that makeup that's so good is that it makes him even closer to that one cat that everybody posts that they say looks just like Ron Perlman, and it's like, oh no,
Yeah.
it very much does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a reason you think that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How about you, Audie?
Definitely never watched it. Knew it existed. We were a TV Guide family in my house, so I
Sure.
Yeah.
definitely remember seeing stuff about it in the TV Guide, and
Mhm.
you know, and like Steven said, that makeup is hard to ever get out of your head once you've
Yeah.
seen it. So, but yeah, I had never watched an episode. It was funny too, looking it up. I was like reminded that CW did a reboot at some point,
Yeah.
and I remember when that came out, I was like, oh, I wonder if this is. And then I saw that like the Beast character is just a guy with scars. I was like, okay, you guys aren't even trying.
But now, what have you done? Like, what is this? This
Yeah,
is nothing.
exactly.
Come on.
So yeah, this was my first time watching. And a heck of an episode for a first one.
Heck of an episode.
Yeah, it was.
Travis, how about you?
I remember the show. I remember not only posters for it, but TV Guide and also like promos. Because I think CBS was the Paramount channel here, and so it would have run promos during stuff like Star Trek: The Next Generation and whatnot.
Sure.
So I definitely remember that, and I think my mom might have watched this. I don't recall exactly, but I never consciously watched an episode of it until
Yeah.
earlier today. But I definitely remember it, and a lot of that was Ron Perlman, who just is
I
a
mean,
presence. I mean,
yeah.
This show
great. And
definitely
that makeup
has
was
a mom energy.
it does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makeup was designed by Rick Baker. So
Yeah.
So
like
good.
it's real good. I can't imagine how long it took Ron Perlman in the makeup chair every day.
In
Like,
1987, especially.
could not have been fun.
No, but he's
Uh,
not. I mean, he's never been afraid of that.
No, and
He
that's
has
actually
not.
partly why he got the job. I was reading that Baker was designing the makeup and basically was like, you need this guy for it.
Yeah.
He's good. I've worked with him before,
Yeah.
and he's just got such a unique and interesting look and presence about him.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And for somebody who's, and I'm not going to say 5'11" is short, but that is not
It's not.
towering.
Yeah. It's Hollywood tall.
It is
But it's
Hollywood
not
tall,
like
Mhm.
towering.
but
Ron,
he
wait,
gives
he's
the
5'11".
presence.
Hold on a second.
Yeah,
Is it
right. But
okay?
he gives the
Like
presence of being like huge.
his head is 40% of that. I
I
mean,
mean,
that's
that's part
true.
of it too.
unbelievable, large, big
He has
head.
a big head. Yeah.
Long.
Real good
you
for
know?
makeup though. You got a lot of
Yeah.
space
You
for
got a
it.
lot to work
Yeah.
with. It's not.
No,
it's
that's
not
true.
wide. It's long.
It is long.
Yeah.
For sure.
5'11". I'm taller than Rob Perlman. That's blowing my mind right now.
You'll find
Um,
that about a lot of Hollywood.
I imagine.
Yeah, I mean that's true. So this episode had a handful of characters. It was not like we saw a lot of characters that didn't particularly matter. Like we
Mhm.
saw a lot of the people who lived in the world below, but they didn't super matter in context. It was just that they were there. So Linda Hamilton, obviously. Like I feel like I don't I don't have to talk too much about Linda Hamilton.
Who?
you know, from Dante's Peak.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Oh
Mhm.
man, don't talk crap about that movie. That's
No,
that's
I
dear
mean,
and
there's
dear.
nothing wrong with that movie.
Yeah.
It's just-
Imagine though, if your only connection to Linda Hamilton was this show, and then you see Terminator 2.
Oh
it's
snap!
wild. That's
Yeah.
a wild.
Like that's quite the swing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's like every time our friend Phil Rude talks with his son Austin, and Austin doesn't know who an actor is, and then we'll be like, "Oh, you mean the guy from?" And then it's like the wildest pick of what
Right.
you
Oh,
know
yeah.
them from, and
Mhm.
you're like, "No, oh God, yeah." I mean, yeah, not what I would have picked. Ron Perlman, of course, the pinnacle of Hellboy, and I will not hear otherwise.
You will not hear disagreement here.
No.
Yeah. There's a little bit of Hellboy vibes in here with the character of Father and him being we don't
Mhm.
know his backstory and he's weird
Mhm.
and you know he's taken in. Like there's that same kind of dynamic
Mhm.
between him and Father, who is very much like John Hurt's character in Hellboy, but it's played by Roy Dotrice, which He played King Baelor in Hellboy 2: Curse of the
did?
Golden Throne.
Nice.
Oh wow.
He also read he did the audiobooks for all of the Game of Thrones books. All
Ooh.
of them. He
Mhm.
holds a record for number of hang on. It was so good. It was like number of characters voiced by a single person.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Because here we go. The greatest number of characters, 224, voiced by a single person in an audiobook.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Dang.
Yeah. I mean, because those books are riddled with
They're-
characters.
Yeah, they're
This
dense.
is
How would you
true.
even keep track of that?
I'm
Jeez.
just now looking through his credits to figure out why he looks so familiar to me.
Mhm.
I remember him as Anton Pimchenko from The Cutting Edge.
There you go.
Yeah.
I always love the that's my favorite part is like seeing an actor who it doesn't matter, they could have been in a billion things,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm looking for the one I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And
I
get
just
to-
talked about that with Christopher Eccleston, because until Doctor Who came out, I knew him as the horrible villain in Gone in 60 Seconds,
Mhm.
because that was the movie I'd seen him in. Like, it's just that
Mhm.
happens. There's certain actors you do that with, and it is fun to remember that and try to figure it out.
Towards the end of this episode, we do get some time with Dr. Peter Alcott,
Mhm.
who I
Mhm.
know from an episode of The Golden Girls.
Of course,
Everybody take a drink.
it's the Golden
Yeah,
Girls
everybody
connection.
take a drink. The Golden Girls connection is here. All right. So here
We
we
also
go.
had our Star Trek connection. I had in my opening.
Well, yeah.
Armin
sure.
Shimmerman,
Mm-hmm.
who I kept waiting for. I saw his name in the opening credits. I'm like, come on, he's got to show up at some point. There's only 10 minutes of the show left.
Show left.
Come on.
Yeah, we get a lot of like walk-on bits from these regular characters in this one. So here we go. It starts off with Vincent is in the park at night because that's what you do when you live in New
Mhm.
York. We know
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
You know this from what you do in the shadows. We know. And he has an altercation with mounted police while trying to get to Catherine,
Mm-hmm.
and they do just shoot him. And then he
Yikes.
wakes up, and it's broad daylight in the park. So this is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We already
Yeah.
know this is a problem.
I mean, well, it's the park in New York. I mean, I don't know how big
Yeah.
a problem it really is. Like, you
No,
see
I feel like
people
it's really
wandering
not.
through there all the time looking weird.
Yeah.
Right.
I-
Especially when
I
he
was-
puts on a hood. It's like,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
You're
it's fine. It's just a weird
You're
guy.
just one of those guys.
I mean, I definitely went through like 2/3 to 3/4 of that opening credit / opening scene, not sure if this was a dream sequence or what.
Mhm.
There's a few
Until-
parts in this episode that are like that, though.
Yeah, same.
Yes, there are.
Really, until he got to Catherine and she's just standing there staring at him, and I'm like, okay, something doesn't feel right about this at
Mhm.
all. And then
Mhm.
the mounted cops just open fire on him in the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is
He
weird.
also
That
knocked
seems
that
Sure.
one cop off
unlikely.
the horse, and that horse nearly stepped on that guy. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
I was like,
I
oh,
did.
snap, that was a close
Mhm.
one.
No animals were harmed, but
Yeah. Yeah, man was
whew.
stepped on. That didn't feel good.
Yeah. So he makes his way back to the world below. He sees there's like a family having a picnic at a table. Like this little kid sees him, and like not like I wanted the kid to make a face. I wanted the kid to laugh or something. It's just I was like, all right, we can skip that part.
We wanted something cutesy, but they had time to fill, and they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yep, gotta stretch that runtime.
Yeah.
So he goes back down and he finds father because that's what you do in these sorts of situations. And he's like, hey, I woke up upstairs and then he's like, oh, you mean you were dreaming? No. I mean, yes, but no, I was actually up there. I don't remember leaving. I do question why they all dress like they're on the way to the Renaissance Festival, though.
Right.
Like, it's
Yeah.
1987. Surely we can go behind the Goodwill. Like, even if we're not the ones going, they have helpers, of which
Mhm.
Catherine
Like,
is
it's-
one.
Yeah, they got
It's
Like-
New York. They should all
Yeah.
look like characters out of Hackers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, it doesn't make sense because I mean, even if they are this medieval society, they need materials to make their clothes, and like, why go through all that trouble when you could just get some jeans, from
Yeah.
J.C.
Mhm.
Penney?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
why were
that
his pants made out of like half leather and half cotton? I was just all confused. Like, are those high boots or are those part of his pants? I was struggling
I
through.
don't.
That's really what
Yeah.
got me
The
bent
answer.
out of shape. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So like I'm sure it was like I would have been super into it. Like if I was not watching this show critically, it would have been fun. I would have been like, great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm. Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Quite frankly, that is how I would dress if I wasn't concerned about anyone seeing me. So I guess I really don't have anything to say
Yeah.
about it. But
Just like
There's also the
a
issue.
slinket, just a
yeah.
hood
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like a Jedi.
Mhm.
But really, what I want to know is Beast's hair care routine, because
Dude.
that
Pantene.
mane was
Mhm.
something
Yeah, it was
else
Pantene,
for living
for
in
sure.
the
Mhm.
living in the sewers.
Pantene and
Impressed.
Aquanet.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you have a surface girlfriend with a shower, I guess you're
Yeah,
probably doing
that's
okay.
true.
You're like, hey, can I
Did he ever
do
do
a
a
VO5
shampoo
hot oil?
commercial? Because he should have. What a great
Yeah,
promotional opportunity.
that would have been
Oh.
really
Oh, yeah.
good.
Tame your mane, just like the beast. Pantene.
So good.
It writes
It
itself.
does.
So we learned that Beastus has these problems before, where there's something in him that is slipping, and he doesn't quite know what, but it's not good.
No.
Um, oh Lord, this is where I really do wish that I had taken notes. But
I mean, but it was a lot of
It was a
it,
lot.
it was it, yeah,
it was
and
a
it was,
lot.
and it was just a lot of like, I'm going through something. Well, this is what you did before, but
Mhm.
now I'm going through this again. Yes, but this is what you did before. It was like a lot of, and it was very melodramatic.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
And
very
yeah.
like
Beast just
there
being
was,
angsty all over the place.
Mhm.
yeah,
There's so much angst. So there's a scene where Catherine is down in the tunnels. And so this was the part I was like, okay, so he's having another episode, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Like he's super having
Exactly.
another episode right now. And he's not having an episode during this part.
Sure.
But she's got like a nice dress on because that sewer grate leads under Symphony Hall or something, I guess.
Mhm.
And it's a night of Vivaldi. Isn't that good?
yeah.
So what better
And
way to enjoy it than just chill out?
Yeah.
yeah,
Standing
Sewers.
in a sewer with
Mhm.
your people.
I mean, hey, it's free.
yeah.
New
Right.
Yorkers love free entertainment. So they're sitting, she's like, sit with me. And he's like, okay, all right, this is fine. Everything's fine here. And every time she talks to him, he sort of like trips out, like her face gets all weird and the light gets all
Mhm.
crazy. And she's like, hey, are you okay? And he's like, no, clearly not. And he takes off and it's a whole thing. So now she's like, meanwhile, so she has her own life, right? So she's an assistant district attorney.
Mhm.
She had been working for her father's law firm until she got attacked, and then she decided she was going to be a district attorney, which is, I mean, that's some pretty hardcore revenge, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sure. So there's a lot of back and forth of him like kind of trying to keep it together. But then he starts seeing this other version of
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
Dark
Mhm.
Beast.
And
Yeah,
that
that's
was
right.
super
Mega
cool.
Beast.
Yeah, because it was like
Yeah.
Superman and evil Superman from Superman 3.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like, let's just desaturate him a little bit and boom,
Mhm.
evil guy. I love that stuff.
Yeah, he goes to find Catherine at her apartment.
Yeah.
And winds up like smashing his way in.
Mhm.
He looks in the mirror and it's not him, it's the other beast.
Mhm.
So he
Yep.
smashes that mirror. He's like, and so she gets home. He passes out. She gets home, her apartment is a disaster, and he's just like passed out on the floor.
Yep.
So now
Covered
she's
in
going to take
glass.
care of him. Covered in glass
like,
everywhere.
first thing I do is be like,
Mhm.
I'll help you in a second. I gotta get this glass off my floor. If anything my mom ever
Yeah.
taught me, so glass shatters, don't move, get the glass.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get
Yep.
it up
Yeah.
Sure.
first.
There's nothing worse than like standing in the kitchen, dropping a glass, and realizing you only have socks on. and
Oh
you're like,
yeah.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
just like, I can't move.
Oh, this is the worst. The broom is nowhere near this location.
Yeah, I
Yep.
guess I'll
Oh,
be
no,
here
that
until
job.
someone shows up to help me.
And you're like, please don't let the cat come over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I need a
it's a
wellness
whole
check.
Because of
Stat.
this show, I had to listen to some Annie Lennox because that was just in my head. Kids ask
Also,
me that.
they did do the thing I love in older TV shows, which is to show like strength, to have things in slow motion.
Oh,
So it was
yeah.
the
Yes.
Incredible Hulk
Mhm.
style.
Yeah.
Crappy
Yes.
slow motion.
And-
like frame by frame, stupid, terrible
Yep.
slow motion.
Mhm.
I loved
Yeah.
it.
We're going
I
to shoot it
loved
in 10 frames a second and we're going to slow it down. So
Mhm.
it's awesome.
So, we get things like it's not really from his perspective. Like we don't have a whole lot of POV shots. There are some. But we are experiencing the next little bit through Vincent's perspective.
Mhm.
Because he's in and out of consciousness. So he sees her calling in fake sick to work, saying she's got a stomach thing because that is the one you do. Because
Yeah.
nobody wants you around.
Nope.
Right.
Nobody wants you there.
I got pink eye and a stomach bug. Not coming
Yeah.
in.
Right.
Not coming in. So then there's a lot of there was a cool thing with a heartbeat sound through this whole part, which I thought was like particularly well done.
Yeah, that was cool.
And so, she's holding him because that's what you do. Apparently. She calls
Scratching
someone.
behind the ears.
Yeah.
Holding his
you know,
80-pound head.
Nice kitty.
Mhm.
Yeah, his enormous head. She calls someone. It's the doctor that tells her to just like stay with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he takes a blood sample and he's like, "Hey, so I'm gonna take this to the lab, but it might raise some questions because I don't know if you noticed, but he's not a people.
He's a
It's
lion
just like he's
man.
more a people
Mhm.
than anyone." And that's pretty sweet. Oh, that's
sweet.
why he goes to the apartment because he's reading the Dylan Thomas poem. That's what it is. He's
right.
ripping his room apart and he reads the
Yeah.
Dylan Thomas poem about how like lovers may die but love does not, and he's like, I gotta tell her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I gotta tell
Um,
her so bad I'm gonna break in her back door, shatter her mirror, and destroy her
shit,
clock.
yeah, I'm just gonna beat up her house for a while.
I love you, Smash.
I love you.
I
Yeah.
love you, Smash.
Are you in there? I can't tell. Don't worry. I'll just run through your back door.
So thank goodness it's 1987 because like there just would have been a ring camera incident and it just would have been all over
Would've
next door and
Yep. Stories are hard to write nowadays.
yeah, yeah, because she well, so we'll get there.
Yeah.
But and so then like somehow she moves him to bed and they're just and so she starts reciting the poem and he's like, where'd you hear that? And she's like, oh, you've been saying it for the last 3 days.
I did like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
That was good. That was really good.
So after a while he starts feeling better. He's like up and about and she's like, you're good? He's like, yeah. And he leaves and he goes back. When he gets back, he is confronted by a small child because he is late for reading group. And they're reading Jane Eyre is what they're reading.
Mhm.
Jane Eyre, completely different from Jane Eyre.
Right.
And
That's the wish.com version.
yeah, that's
Right.
the wish.com version.
Timu Jane Eyre.
Yeah, and she's like, you have to come finish it. And he's like, well, listen, if I'm ever not there, then you read, you finish it. And she's like, no, just be there.
Yeah.
And
I live
that
in
was
a
a scene where I'm
cave.
like,
Please
he's
show
he's
up.
being gentle and kind to her and touching and like, no, you do a great job of reading it. If I'm not there, you can read it. She's like, no, just be there.
Like,
I
it's
was
not
expecting
hard, man.
just maul the kid, get it over with.
Yeah.
No. She's got it right. She's like, just listen. Stop. You're going through some stuff. That's fine. We're all going through stuff. We live in a sewer.
We
Can you
would-
just get it together and come read to the children?
we only get to swim when it floods. I mean, come on.
Well, not to mention, that's just pure child mentality. Like, I
Oh,
don't care what your
Yeah,
excuse
no,
Oh
is.
yeah,
I don't
no,
care.
totally,
My way.
absolutely was.
You're fine. I don't want
Yeah.
to do it. You do it. So there's Catherine gets a call back from the doctor, and the doctor's like, hey, they want another sample because it's not human. And they're like, well, it is. Like, it is.
That was her great rebuttal. He's more human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Given season 3, he's at least mostly human.
Yeah.
Um,
He's gotta be human
you know.
enough. If you know what I
Human
mean.
Enough.
see, human compatible.
Yeah.
It's like IBM compatible.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So at one point he's like talking to father. He's kind of having a little, like, he's on the verge of a breakdown. And he says, get Catherine. Okay. And so this is another one of those modern stories that are so hard to tell because she comes to a note slipped under her door
Mm-hmm.
being like, get down here. Well,
Well, only because they don't have the outside of her apartment set, so they couldn't have it like staked to her door with a
no,
knife.
no,
Yeah.
no. Couldn't tape it to her door. Couldn't do anything.
Drive it through the door with a knife. This is how we do it in the sewers. I don't know what's
That's how
normal.
we do it.
Yeah. The world below. We dress like this. We have knives.
We wrote it in blood because we don't have pens.
Oh no, they have pens because we see Vincent like writing in his journal at
Oh,
one
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
He's very sensitive. The
Yeah.
shorthands for him being sensitive are just, it's so good. It's so
Mhm.
good. He writes in his journal. He's got his poetry that he gets super
Mhm.
obsessed with. And he has to tell her, oh my God. Yeah, no, are you kidding me? 14-year-old me would have been all about this. Now I'm like, yeah, all right. Well, do you have a 401k? Like what?
What's your retirement plan?
Yeah,
How's the
what's your
health insurance looking?
Yeah, like
Before
listen.
it was just half lion man who likes poetry, but now I've got
Yeah.
standards.
I know, So we see him at one point. We see him sitting, and like all of the other citizens are like around with like a circle. There's a good radius around him because he has said, "Don't come near me." Okay. And there's a lot of talk in this one about being afraid. At one point, there's an old lady,
Was it Mary?
Mary, who helps take care of the children. She's talking to father, about like the children are disappointed, and there's a lot of talk about like being afraid. And, well, they should be afraid. And she says anyone who loves Vincent is already knows fear. Like that's just built in. And this is why I don't have like a wild cat living in my home. Like I get it.
There's still a wild
Like I
animal.
would. It could happen, but I do understand. I do have a healthy amount of fear. And that's essentially what Vincent says when everybody is standing around him is that, they're like, well, I'm not afraid of you. Well, you should be. Obviously. Ask Catherine what I did to her apartment. Which is not what he
Right.
said, but he should.
Yeah, I cost her a security deposit
Yeah.
in New York.
She is not her renter's insurance is not going to cover this.
No. What are you gonna
Um,
say? Bobcat, wild animal, got
Yeah.
into my apartment on the 18th floor? Nonsense.
Yeah.
This
So
isn't a post Ghostbusters world though, so you could say demon dog. That
Yeah.
might
Oh,
get you somewhere.
If it's an shared universe. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
so the plan is Vincent's gonna go away for a while until all of this blows over, which is fine. We
He's
did
going
learn
into
from
the
Father before that,
catacombs.
like, they tried tranquilizers and all kinds of things like that the last time that this happened, but didn't really take.
What
His
did they
anatomy
use?
is-
Like
I don't know.
hemlock?
Like,
Something?
yeah.
Like, what do they got down
But when
there?
they give cats gabapentin or something like that.
Witch
Yeah,
hazel and
just-
aspirin.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
I think Xanax might, it's the 80s. Surely there's some good stuff out there.
Yeah,
We
but
can
the
make
only
this happen.
the thing they can get their hands on easy is going to hype him up, not bring him down.
Yeah, it is true.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's not going to help the situation.
You got any of that booger sugar?
Mm-hmm. Now, so he's gonna go off. At one point, he's trying to break out. Which
That
might
was
be
prior
before
to it.
this.
He's having a freak out moment, and Father has to come and like calm him down because we get another instance of.
I think that's
Beast
when he
Vision.
says to get Catherine.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what he says, bring
Beast
Catherine.
vision. It's awesome.
Yeah, Beast Vision. He and they're like, no, we did the main lock. It should hold. And like Ron Perlman was not informed of the structural integrity of this particular piece of the set.
No.
Like there's one shot and I'm like, oh, he just ripped that right off the wall and now has to pretend that he did not just rip
Right.
that right
Yep.
off the wall.
I saw that.
Don't move
It
it any
was
more
so
than
good.
that, Ron. Just keep
was
it
like,
right
whoop.
there.
Whoop. Yeah, so he's leaving. He's going to leave. Now, my favorite thing about this particular part where he's going to leave is he's told everyone to stay away from him because he's dangerous. And he walks through the group of children on his way out.
And they're all looking at him like, what? Like they're not even barely getting out of his way. Like,
Yeah.
No. Oh no. They're if anything, they're getting closer to him as he comes through the group.
Yeah. The little girl Samantha tries to give him the copy of Jane Eyre, so you can finish it. It's like, no, you finish it. I'll be back. I get through some stuff. And so I mean, my assumption is he's just gonna go to like more tunnels and just throw things at a wall for a while.
He goes
Probably.
deeper into the catacombs
right.
of
Yeah.
New York City.
Yeah, which that's not as cool as going deeper into the catacombs of like Paris.
Yeah.
Where there's
Right.
just like walls of bones and
Europe,
stuff.
where
Like,
where the tunnels are
this
made of
is-
skeletons.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is just urine.
Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
just pee. That dripping. Those stalactites are not made out of water.
Mm-mm.
No, those are made out of something else entirely.
He's gonna befriend the rats. He's gonna run into the Ninja Turtles. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a whole thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big deal. Ammonia. That's all I can think
Yeah,
of.
yeah.
Blech.
Boo.
Um.
Bull.
So
Well, and that's when Catherine shows up. Like she gets there
she shows up. She gets there as
just
he's
after he
leaving.
left.
Yeah.
and then we get our cliffhanger ending.
Yeah, but real quick though. You're going
Yeah.
down into the catacombs. You're looking down a tunnel. You hear a bunch of screaming. You're not going to take a flashlight? Like anything at all
Nothing?
with you to see into the
A
darkness?
candle, a
Or
A
lantern,
candle? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
a
also,
glow stick.
these candles
torch.
put out entirely too much light. All of these people should be
Yes.
pale as ghosts and or lepers as they
Yeah.
walk through this place. Like there is no sunshine.
They have so
anywhere.
much hepatitis. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
This is the
they're all
worst.
far too healthy.
Yeah, they get all. Yeah, they're
And-
living to ripe old ages. I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
And I will admit that I had very much a Mystery Science Theater moment in this episode to myself when they cut to Mouse as he's sitting there listening to Beast down this dark tunnel,
Yeah.
just gnashing of teeth and growling and all this kind of stuff. And all I could think in my head was like, oh boy, taco night was rough this week. That's just what it sounded like.
Mhm.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I believe it.
Yeah.
And how does he know he's not going to freak out and run right back into that room and just attack everybody? Like, there's nothing to stop him other than
No.
proximity, you know?
Yeah. If they're a very trusting group of outcasts.
Yeah, they ought to figure
Yeah.
out what flips him out every so often, you know? That's the trick.
Yeah. And then so Catherine shows up, right? And she follows him, and we hear her like yelling.
She
We hear-
disappears
hear
into
her-
the darkness
Yeah.
and then yells his name.
End of episode. Which is a real good cliffhanger.
It was good.
That's
yeah,
real
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
I
it
would have been
is.
like, and now I have to wait whatever, 6 months.
Yeah.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know what
Um,
happened.
But yeah, I miss when TV was like that sometimes. I miss a
Yeah.
good cliffhanger.
Week to
on
week
occasion.
stuff or seasonal head
Yeah.
cliffhangers.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, because
That
there's your
is-
water cooler discussion for like weeks.
Right?
Yeah.
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 And everybody's there when the
Yeah.
premiere comes back. You're like, oh no, we gotta find out what happens day one.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Appointment television had its cultural perks.
Yeah,
It
I mean,
did.
I still have a few things that are like Only Murders in the Building comes back
Yeah.
in like 3 weeks, and that's a week to week, and like that's
Hmm.
a like I gotta watch it that day. I get up in the morning early and I eat my breakfast and I watch a new episode. You know,
Nice. There you go.
which is nice because then I don't have to stay up past my bedtime to watch a show.
Perfect.
Very
Big
nice.
fan. And that was about it for the episode. I don't think we missed anything
No.
No, I don't think
No.
so.
massively huge.
They got
No, like you
too
said at
much.
the top of the show, it was very let's do the same thing 5 or 6 times and then end.
Yeah.
It kind of had a through line of a lot of we got to stretch this because we got to make 45 minutes
Yeah.
of TV. We didn't talk about the intro, though.
We didn't talk about the intro.
the glorious 1987 intro.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
It was something.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yep.
Mhm.
Because we essentially get 2 monologues in the intro.
Yeah.
We get one from Vincent about how he lives in the sewers and Catherine's great. And then we get one from her about, how he's,
It's
everything.
it's basically
That-
the theme from Green Acres, just repurposed.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the part. That was the
You're
part.
not wrong.
I think it's when she's talking to the doctor. She's either talking to the doctor or her father. It's irrelevant. But she says something along the lines of like, well, you have to save him. I don't care what it takes because like he's my everything. And
Yeah.
like without him, and I'm like, ma'am, you're like a high powered lawyer. Like you can have other things.
Yeah. That was that
Like a
definitely had
14-year-old
some
me would have been like, oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Because I'm 14 and that's the only feelings you ever have are everything.
It had so much. It had a lot of cornball going on
Yeah.
in those lines, and most of the things she said was cornball.
But
But it's
now
a
I'm like,
soap opera.
come on, man.
Yeah.
Just get it together.
He's a
You're
lot,
doing
but you
great.
go to vacation for a week. He'll come back. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Just
do
put
Just
a
something.
let him
hair
deal
tag
with
on
his
him.
stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Atlantic City's like
did you get
over
a
there.
microchip? Then you're fine.
Did you get a
Anyway. Yeah, so that was Beauty and the Beast. Like I said, any type of soap opera-y type thing is hard. because they don't have a lot of bottle episodes and there's a lot of moving parts. I feel like even
Yeah.
if I hadn't picked a season finale, there's just a lot of parts moving.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like this, like overall, the important bits, there weren't that many people. Like you could kind of piece it together pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think that helped, right? Because if there had been a lot of
If
characters,
all of those, like if we'd needed to know who Mary was and what her
Mhm.
deal was,
Yeah.
that would have been a whole thing.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. We
Right.
know you live in the downstairs. Great. That's it.
Yeah.
Mary's a midwife, in case you were.
They need one of
Ah.
those.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else have they got to do?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a good point. There should be a lot of people in that underworld.
This is what I'm saying. Did you see how many children there were?
Yeah.
A whole
true.
mess of
Mhm.
children.
Yeah.
Been productive.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's just dark, and what do you can read? That seems fine.
Yeah.
You could do other stuff.
It is wild though that like if you read some of the things, so there's like a cook, that's fine. There's a cook and he likes being down there because he feels appreciated in a way that he did not when he was above ground. Great. Love that.
Sure.
But then there's like a blacksmith. Hey man, were you doing a lot of blacksmithing in New York City? I mean, there's the horses in Central Park and like the police horses. And like I suppose that maybe you could be doing some wrought iron work, but like are you really
Yeah, it
doing
doesn't-
a lot?
He's
Doesn't
so
Like,
that
it was a
loud.
high demand for that in the 80s,
That-
especially.
That's why he went to the world below.
But this
His
is what I'm
job
saying.
was not a
I
good
feel
one.
like it's just all art majors. Just
Yeah. Yeah, it's
just a lot of people
definitely
being like, you know what? Actually, my degree is in
Sure.
sculpture. I don't know what else I'm gonna do. I'm going down to the tunnels. This is my life. I am down there
Yeah.
right now.
I'd
Yeah.
be down there like I'm not getting a strip instead of Charlie Brown in the paper, so
Yeah,
down
I
below.
guess.
I was like, I'll
guess
just
this
go
is
draw
it for
comics
me.
for the people that'll appreciate me down in the
Yeah.
hole.
Draw them
Well,
on the walls like cave paintings. It'll be
Yeah. I
phenomenal.
can draw on anything.
Perfect.
Except in
Mhm.
Jane Eyre. I can't draw in that book. It's
No, you
being
don't
used.
draw on Jane Eyre.
Yeah. In all fairness to them saying Jane Eyre, if you've only ever read it and you've never heard
Oh,
it
for
said,
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah,
then
yeah.
good for them. You know?
No, and that's good. It
Yeah.
just it got me. She said it once, and I was like, "Is that what she said?" And then she said it again. And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
What she said.
It's a weird
Yeah.
word. It's not something you know about.
So, I'm curious what everybody's thoughts were about this show, and I'm going to start with Travis.
It was interesting. I mean, it was very much like primetime soap opera melodrama,
Mhm.
which was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was really well done. Like, it was really well shot. Everything looked good. It had a look and a feel to it, and it leaned into that. Like the Renaissance Fair people in these elaborate tunnel system underneath New York City,
Yeah.
and a lion boy and his beautiful above ground girlfriend. And you know what? Go for it. It was
Great.
I could see checking some episodes of this out.
Okay.
Just to see more, see kind of where it went. Plus, some of the other actors I saw were in it.
Mhm.
Interest me.
Yeah.
Names like Stephen McHattie and Tony Jay and whatnot. Plus, I mean, Armin Shimmerman. I just want to see more of him. So
Yeah.
no, it wasn't. It was pretty interesting. And the big thing that I took away from it, Ron Perlman was so good, and he has so much acting to do underneath all of that makeup.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is really hard to do, but he's so expressive, and he does so much acting with his eyes, and I was really impressed by that.
Yeah.
Because
There is an episode with Adrian Paul. Just saying.
well, yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
there's that as well.
Mhm.
So no, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Adi, how about you?
Yeah, I'd say about the same. It was good. I enjoyed it. I think the only time I was like not on board with what was happening and wondering was when Catherine showed up for real that first time, and it was like, is this a dream?
Is
this not a
this
dream?
what are we?
Yes.
And not knowing the series well enough, I wasn't sure. Like,
And
does she
maybe we're
normally
not
come-
supposed to be sure.
Right.
Like that's also possible,
But,
but
like,
I
was she-
don't
Yeah.
know either for
You know,
sure.
does she normally come down and just hang out around there until Vincent shows up and sees her? I don't know, but that, that was the only thing that I had a little hang up on. But the rest of it, I was kind of on board for. And like Travis said, it was written well enough that I could go with them, whatever they were doing and trying to
Yeah.
do for the most part. So yeah, I dug it. It was fine.
Awesome. Steven, how about you?
Yes. It's true. So, real life story. When I was 18 and got out of high school, I spent a summer, not really sure of what to do, and I had a lot of time off in that summer. And General Hospital would come on at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I watched. I said, "What is this crap daytime TV?" And I watched the whole episode. And then the next day, General Hospital came on, and I said, "Nah, what's that Sunny guy up to today?" And I watched another episode until I spent an entire summer hooked on General Hospital. Loved the
have your
crap
stories.
out of that show. I was like an old lady in the morning, like, oh my gosh, where's this leading to next? And this gave me a lot of those vibes of
Yeah.
like, had I been an 18-year-old when this came out, I'd have been like, got to see what that Beast guy's up to this week. What that Catherine's doing. And so I was definitely into it. Like I could see myself going back, to episode 1 so I can get more
Yeah.
context.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish that it had made itself a Days of Our Lives or Another World and just kept going forever.
Just forever.
And then I
Just
would have got
still.
on right here and I would have watched the next episode and I would still be watching it today. Much like Travis and Audie, I thoroughly enjoyed the show.
Good.
It was weird as all get out, and I don't know that it's one that I'm gonna just go sit down and check out because it's very dated and it's very
Yeah.
weird. But if I found myself in that soap opera mood, I could definitely turn on one like this and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
My soap opera story, because I was never a real soap opera person, but when I was in college, I think we talked about it when we did our Buffy episode, but I had the largest TV on the floor.
Yes.
Right.
And so the girl across the hall was from Mexico. And so sometimes she would come watch her stories.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Ah,
I
yes.
don't speak a word of Spanish. So for the first 2-3 days, she would tell me what was happening and what people were saying. After that, no translations necessary. You're just there going, oh, like you don't need anything. It's all so tropey and wonderful.
Yeah.
And you don't have to understand what they're saying. It's fine. Like every now and then I'd be like, what was that?
Yeah.
But like mostly it did not matter. It
Soap
was
operas
fantastic.
they just capture the human experience
Mm-hmm.
in weird ways that you're just like, I don't know what's happening, but that dude's definitely sleeping with a lady he shouldn't. And
And it doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't feel as icky as reality TV.
yeah, you're like,
That are like
Yeah.
real
"Ooh."
actual people.
Yeah, real actual
you
people
know?
being trash is different than fake
Yeah.
people being trash. It's different.
Fake people being trash is great.
Yeah, you're like, look at those fake people doing all the things that you ought not do. Let me get my
Yeah.
popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So before I'm gonna hijack the show for like a hot second
Do it.
before we move
for
on to
it.
what's coming next week,
Go for it.
because my other show, Achewillow, currently wrapping up season 7. Well, very excitingly, we are running a campaign right now to have season 1 published as an actual can hold in your hand book. Pre-orders are open now. If you go to achewillow.com/book, that's ACHEWILLOW. You can pre-order a copy. You can pre-order 3 copies. If you pre-order 3 copies, you get your name in the book. You get a membership card as a citizen of Achewillow. Also today, we have set up signups for a newsletter so that we can email you things like recipes and other stuff and behind the scenes info, and give the people that are not on the social medias access to information and not depend on the algorithm to deliver it to the people that we want to.
Yeah.
So if you go to achewillow.com, down the bottom of the page is the newsletter sign up, and then achewillow.com/book, and you can pre-order the book. You can watch our launch party VOD on our YouTube channel. That was a good
Oh,
time.
cool.
That was fun.
It was
I
really
managed
fun.
to catch as much of that as I could stay awake for, being 5 hours ahead in London at the time.
Yeah.
But that was fun.
Yeah, we had a good time. So all of that's all my Achewillow stuff. And I've promoted it. I've put it into the world.
It will
And
be
thank
in
you,
the show
listeners.
notes as well. The link to the book.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Then everybody
Um,
go check it out.
Yes,
Thank
please
you.
do. And subscribe to
great.
that show. Good gracious.
yeah.
What are you even doing?
Yeah.
Get in there.
Yeah, and if you're a binger, like there's only 2 episodes left of this season, and then you'll have 7 whole seasons to listen to.
Yeah. You not do anything else on the treadmill? Come on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
The current runtime prior to this week's episode is 64 and 3/4 hours. So there's
Yeah.
like plenty of content there for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, you're like at the you're at the Misty Mountains, over
Yeah.
that period of time.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sure.
for sure. All right. Do we get any feedback? I don't think we got any
I don't think
feedback.
we got any feedback, but
No.
I'll check.
We were off for so long. We didn't really ask.
Yeah, I didn't
them.
see any. I looked on the Twitter account. It
I
didn't look
picked-
like it.
A weird show.
Yeah, I think I got the usual likes on the socials, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can find us everywhere. You can email us at thosewerethedayshow@gmail.com.
That's the one.
On Twitter, whose name we refuse to change.
Oh, we do
At
have
Those
we
Days
have
Show.
feedback, y'all. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
We have
Holy
we have a
cow.
couple emails. What?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nice.
I know, right? We have one on Mighty Max. Are you prepared for this, which we reviewed a
Yeah.
few months
Bring
ago?
it.
Corey says, love the episode. Chums, I think because of syndication, I remember watching Mighty Max on Sunday mornings. I was managing a comic shop in Canton, Michigan. Shout out to Comic City. And I'm pretty sure this played before I had to head into the store. I may have remembered which episode the line was that I quote all the time was from. I remember Norman fighting a huge dragon and taunting him with, "I fish with bigger worms than you." The writing on that show was really top notch. You made me realize that if I can find it, the series requires a rewatch. I admire the appeal of Dick Van Dyke, but I was always partial to the Patty Duke show. Keep doing what you do. I'm a big fan of all of you. Thanks, Corey. Well, thank you,
Aw,
Corey.
thanks,
Corey.
Corey.
Thank you,
You're
Corey.
awesome.
Corey's
and
the best.
Corey's
It's-
great. And we also got another
you
one
can
from.
find it on YouTube, by the way. Like the episode I shared and I found, like I think they have the whole series on YouTube. So.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Mighty Max
There
everywhere.
you go, Corey.
A Stigma, also known as Sean, also emailed us, said, "Hey all, love the show. Just want to say that if you ever cover the Fox show Dark Angel, created by James Cameron, that ran from 2000 2002, all the episodes are on Daily Motion. Sadly, it's not available to stream or purchased. Just make a couple playlists for season 1, 2, partly for myself, but also so fans can enjoy. Thank you for all the great content you make. You all rock. Thank you, A Stigma. Wonderful
Nice.
suggestion.
Aw,
I remember
you.
Dark Angel.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah. Yeah, so we did have a couple emails, and then a couple emails telling me thank you for my purchase. I didn't purchase anything.
Oh,
but
right. Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
no,
several
no.
of
Those are always great.
Mhm.
Our,
But yeah.
our Norton subscription has been renewed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just charged you 87 Bitcoin. Thank you for your services.
Thank you.
Got your
What?
package at the delivery thing.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
They're all the same. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for the
Um,
emails. Definitely send those in. Those are so
yes,
fun to
please.
read. They make me
Yes.
so happy.
Oh, absolutely.
So next week we wrap up host choice with our good friend Travis. Travis, what are we doing?
Well, food fans, we are going to dive into the world of Good Eats and my patron saint, Alton Brown. So I waffled over a couple different shows, and then I found that this was streaming on Max.
Mhm.
And I said, well, that was a quick and easy decision. It was just which episode we're going to watch. And it's season 2, episode 12. It's called A Rib for All Seasons.
I'm
So
so excited.
I cannot
Ready.
wait to watch this and talk about it. It is a show that is near and dear to my heart. So that is what we're going to be doing. Good Eats.
Mm.
Good Eats. You should just watch all. Was it 17 seasons or whatever?
Something like that, yeah.
16? Yeah, just watch all of them.
Yeah,
Don't even
just-
worry about it.
Yep.
Just
Go
put
for
them
it.
all on. Just put it on. Go about your day.
Mhm.
Yep,
Learn a lot
exactly.
about food.
Love it.
So
Um,
much.
Fantastic. So until next week and Good Eats, for Audie, for Travis, for Stephen, I'm Amy, and thank you for joining us on Those Were the Days.